Sacred Souljourners, a space where we gather around the fire for storytelling.
This is a journey of spiritual awakening, learning to trust in the universe and aligning to our highest path.
It's through our voices from the perspective of the masculine and the feminine, which is the real-life dance between us, where we are going to share stories about our journey, our triggers, our love, all as we walk with the universe, not against it.
Zan and I are two souls having our human experience, who are walking through the fire together with our three dogs. And now, we're inviting you in to witness. If you've been feeling the pull to awaken,
Then you can finally start to trust.
and then to align to your highest good.
Now, you're exactly where you're meant to be. Hello, and welcome back to the Sacred Souljourners podcast. I am your co-host, Zan Kavanah, here with
Troy Hawkner, the other co-host.
the real Troy Hawkner.
The real Troy Hawkner.
Today was a really special and magical day for Troy Hawkner.
Yep.
Why is that?
Yep. Well, it's officially legal as of today, as far as my last name and changing my last name.
And why did you change your last name?
Why did I change it? Well, because it was a name that didn't belong to me. I wasn't affiliated with it at all, as far as family or bloodline. It was just a name that my mom had when I was born.
And then since your awakening, you were starting to really feel those feelings. And then you started having dreams about the owl.
Yeah, the owl, Raphael, Michael.
And you investigated what that name meant.
Right, yeah. The Kavanah name went along with, as far as what we're going to be talking about today, astrology. And as I looked at it, and I had very strong sense of Kavanah in it, that it went along with the person that I am, as far as
Now,
since my awakening and everything that's taken place.
yeah, so he told me that he wanted to name himself Shavana.
Kavanah, yeah.
I was like, well, I don't know about that. Why don't we look it
Yeah,
up?
let's think about that, she said.
Let's put it in the chat and let's come up with the name that really aligns with you, that feels good for you. And so we asked chat what other languages were what Shavana was, and Hawkner was one of those languages.
Right.
And it was like, aha, right?
Yeah. Kavanah means to hear or to listen, or sacred listening. The symbol is the ear, and it's deeply connected with learning, spiritual listening, walking between worlds, carrying wisdom through stories, speech, and guidance, and pilgrimage, travel. It just very much my personality of who I am since my awakening.
Yeah.
And
so you feel more in alignment.
right. Oh, absolutely. I do feel more in alignment, more connected, more at home with my name now.
And I love it because it took a lot of courage for him as a man to do that. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be asking you questions about why you changed your name.
Right.
And I'm sure that our guest tonight will probably tell us why that happened right now at this time and how appropriate in the month of May and what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
We're very excited about tonight's conversation. And we talked a little bit about it on last week's show, ego and perception, and how astrology has and can impact you. For us, it's really about figuring out the ways to best navigate this earth, this planet, this humanity, because things are just crazy on the external. And so I'm all about as many clues and as many practical things that I can use to gain traction and have the best life that we can have. So do you want...
becoming our higher selves.
Yes, I was going to ask if you wanted to light the fire.
Light the fire, absolutely, sweetie. You grab my lighter.
Okay.
Here we go. It's lit.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, we hope you're excited about astrology. I'm sure a lot of people listening are aware of astrology, and I'm an Aquarius, sun rising, and you are...
And I'm a Capricorn.
Right. That's just the beginning. That's just like one aspect of it. And And tonight we're joined by Carolina Velis of Quest Mystic and the creator of Cosmic Wealth Collective, which I'm super excited about. This is a new venture for her, but one that she feels very strongly about. And over the last 20 years in business, and let me tell you, this is a friend of mine from a very long time ago. So I know when I say she's in business, that's just like this much of what she's really capable of. And as a professional astrologer trained through the Portland School of Astrology, Carolina helps women align practical strategy with cosmic timing to create greater abundance, visibility, and financial clarity. So, at a time where so many Americans are overwhelmed financially and are struggling to make ends meet, we hope that her work helps you guys to understand not only yourselves, but the energetic patterns that are shaping how we relate to money and opportunity. Welcome, Caroline. And while she's coming on, there she is, my girl.
Hello.
What we love about Carolina's work is that she makes astrology feel practical, which I have said many times. For me, it's ease and grace. Like, let's just get on with this. But she makes it understandable and deeply connected to real life. So thank you so much for coming on to our podcast, Sacred Souljourners.
Thank you for hosting me. I'm so happy to be here and share space and this time with you all.
And right now, Carolina is in a thunder, lightning, rainstorm in Atlanta, Georgia.
That's right.
And so, Troy, would you lead us in a quick little prayer to protect?
Yes. Divine, we come to you just thankful for this day, thankful for this time. We ask all the spirit guides to come in and just sit around us as we just come to understand better about astrology and how to apply it to our lives and how it does apply to our lives, even when we are not thinking about it. We are just so grateful for Carolina, and as she's in that storm, we pray for safe and protection amongst her. We just thank you for the blessings that we overlook, the blessings that we see. And so it is.
And so it is.
So it is, and may it be so.
Well, you are safe and protected. There's a giant pink bubble around you in your house. Everybody's safe. So why don't you tell everybody who's listening as we sit by the campfire, why astrology? Why'd you get into astrology?
I'd say the reason why is because I am a deeply curious person. I have always been infatuated with the unseen, the unheard, and the things that are taboo. So if you tell me not to look at it, I'm going to go look at it.
Yeah.
As a young kid, I was fascinated by ancient cultures. I've always been curious to understand how humans operated in the old world. And I feel like there's a lot about our past that we have been hidden from. And this is one of them. This is one part of life that has been ingrained and has been part of humanity since day one. I mean, there's rare of a person that doesn't want to look at the sky and look at the stars and wonder, like, what is going on here, right? And so, yeah, I can go in depth as to why this came about, from going from a corporate wonk, working, like day to day as someone who was very technical and very tied into what I call the matrix, this like, go work 9 to 5. There's nothing else here. Just do the thing. And I had a major spiritual awakening. It started around my 30s when I had a very tragic event happen in my life. And then it just increased, and then it really got kicked in right around the time that I got to meet you, Zan.
Yeah.
And being like, whoa, wait a second, I can move into this space. And by then I was living in Oregon where all the weirdos live anyway. So I thought I was like, I should just join forces, why stick out when I can just be one of them? And I went deep into study because it is a puzzle. And I love puzzles, and I love to discover the hidden meanings behind things. And then I realized, like, Wow, the average thing that people know about astrology is really not astrology. Most of what
Mm,
people think of astrology is like, I'm a sun sign and that's all I am.
right.
And that's not true. You are more than that. And that's why each of us is truly a special snowflake. I'm here to tell you that the moment that you were born, the moment you took a breath, that imprinted energetic bodies into and patterns within you that have been studied for millennia, have just been studied by individuals and schools of individuals for as long as we can remember. And there are texts and there are things out in this world, and I'm talking like written on stone, okay? That's how far and deep this craft goes. That
Well, that's how
tells us a
they
lot,
that's how they studied it. I mean, they didn't have TVs, they didn't have phones, right? The Mayans, there was a whole
right?
thing about the Mayans and how
Yeah.
they would follow the stars, and that's how they could track. I mean, how did they know that the Kaya Yuga or the Kali Yuga like
Yeah,
ended?
the
Like,
Indian part. Yes, that's the
yeah.
Vedic realm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the Mayans were fascinated with Venus. That was one of the main things that they tracked. Others have tracked the moon and the sun and the interplay between the two of them. Our calendars are 100% dictated by the planetary action. Like, you know, a Monday, for example, is Moon's Day. Like
Mm.
Sunday, it is Sun's Day. Saturday
Yeah.
is Saturn's Day.
Oh my
We
God,
have
that's so cool.
named all of our days of the week based on on the day on the planet. So like we couldn't get more embedded with the planets, and I believe that this is the path in the future. There is certainly a trend within like the weirdo of like Instagram where people have really just made it like really shallow, but the
Mm.
reality is that we are becoming more and more aware and understanding that there is something going on here, that the planetary action has a correlation with human activity, and that is astrology. That's the study of those two things.
Hmm. And so, can you share an example where you use astrology to, make decisions about your life, and not really in such a generic way? Like I read that. I mean, I used to be obsessed with the weekly, where I would go to the end of and read the sun
Right.
sign, see what
Yeah.
was going to happen to me. But really, since you've come to this profession and used it, what's a really poppin' example that?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because today I did a talk. I spoke at a summit, and what I shared with this business audience was my strategy and my tips on how I landed the top 50 spot for my school using astrology. And how did I do that? Well, I tracked the chart. So for people who are out there listening, think of like, back in the day we had printed maps, right? Whoa, right? Printed maps. Well, there is a map that tells us where all the planets were at the time of your birth. Everything in this life has an actual map, whether that's the adoption of your kid, the moment that the two of you met, when you were born, when a building was created, everything on this universe has a map. And so, what I decided for my business was I was going to time the launch of my school, which is SKOOL. I was going to time the launch of that based on what was happening with my chart. Now, most astrologers and those who are involved in this space do these types of things where they time the action, the activity of something, get married, when to purchase something, when to launch something, whether that's a book, a business, you can
and
use
and it
it to
makes it
understand yourself. Go ahead.
and it makes it more successful or more aligned.
Yes.
Like,
Yes. The
okay.
reason why we time things is that so we can harness the energy that is happening at that moment.
Mm,
So when we look at personal astrology, we generally look at it from a personal development perspective. But the next question then becomes knowing this about myself and the fact that planets continue to move around the sky, right? They don't stop just because we were born. We
right.
can look to it in the future to understand when is the optimal time for success, or what can you tell me in the future that could either be helpful or unhelpful. Wouldn't it be wonderful for you to know that?
Yeah.
Sure, you can use things like tarot and oracle, but the reality is that the two of them merged together is really powerful because you can really understand the dynamics that are going to be at play. And you can use that to go back in time. You can go back and look at what happened in the past to understand how things have played out for you in your life. And I've done that. I went down that rabbit hole many times and still do, because there's parts of my chart that won't be quote unquote activated until another time in the future. So let me look in the past to see what happened. Well, is there something there that I can understand about the circumstances of my life that may help me grow more? Because I'm about personal development. I think that's been like my number one thing in my life here is I'm here for deep soul transformation. And because why is that? This is my curiosity.
Well, we do have a show with 3 dogs, and you have a dog.
Sure. So what I was saying is that through the exploration of my own chart, I've come to realization and acceptance that I don't do anything like light. I can't do things that are surface level. I'm only here for really deep soul connections and conversations and transformation of myself. If I go back and if you were to know me and when I was in my 20s, it is not this. That is not this personality at all. And what I've also come to learn is that with astrology, it has given me the opportunity to be even more compassionate, because the reality is that each of us is different. And when I know that, and I can understand just a little bit about, I can generally sense people's astrology just by talking to them, but it helps me to see like, oh, well, they're dealing with X, Y, and Z. How interesting, how curious for them to walk life like this. Right? These are the opportunities. These are the challenges for them, because it's not like you chose. Although we can have a different conversation of whether you chose this path for yourself or not. But let's just assume you didn't choose this for yourself and that this is who you are. And I would love for others to understand that instead of judging others, just come to understand that they're just wired differently. They are here for a different mission on life.
Right.
And for you to place this idea that they must act, they must do this, they must do blah, 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 then you're doing a disservice to them and yourself, because this is an opportunity to receive a mirror, an opportunity for you to understand another fragment of humanity. And this is what divine expression is all about. It makes me teary-eyed just thinking about it. I'm a Cancer sun, for those who are wondering. I'm here about just the pure emotion, like constant, all the time. Lucky
Preach
me.
it, girl. I love it. So how does this sit with you as a man just coming into this whole experience?
How does it sit with me? Well, as I was pastor for 15 years, and this is something you don't hear I was in the Baptist world, studied a little bit about other religions and things, but it was almost superstitious. It was kind of scary to drift off into looking at this kind of astrology. And I don't know why. The scripture says that Daniel studied the stars.
Yes, they did.
And what was he studying? And so since my awakening and I started looking at it, it's unbelievable how much it has lined up with who I am, my personality, and it's really shown me that there's some meat to it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There is a lot of meat to it.
A lot of meat to it, yeah. I want to ask you, coming from where I have been into this for about 7 months now, many people today are searching for a deeper self-understanding and connection. From a spiritually conscious perspective, how do you see astrology serving as a mirror for personal growth? And you talked a little bit about that with yourself, rather than a system of fear or prediction.
Yeah. Yeah, so what I would say about astrology that people need to understand is that in the ancient times, and I'm talking ancient times, before we had the idea of Catholicism or Hinduism or Buddhism,
Before pagan?
astrology was deeply embedded into society, and I'm talking deep. Okay. When you were a doctor back then, you had to know astrology. That's how deep this went. Okay. It wasn't until religion came in where things got split and you had astronomy and astrology, and then astrology went underground. Now, in the past, the ancients really saw things more as fate. Okay. Meaning that you have this, therefore this will definitely happen. The reality is that as humans have evolved, we have taken on more of what is called free will, right? And so there is more free will now than there ever has been in society and in this world. And so astrology has become and is a tool for self-discovery first and foremost, and with an understanding that this is the potential, but I have free will. There is, sadly, still just a little bit of fate in there, okay? And I can share that through some other time in terms where I've seen astrology appear in my life where I'm like, there was no way that I could have avoided that. It was going to happen, and sadly, this was the result, okay? The chart itself is multi-layered. There are many parts of it that speak to not just, say, like your sun sign, for example, but also how or where these things play out in this 3D realm, okay? And one of those would be death. We all experience death, whether that it's a figurative death, right? I'm going to die at some point. Carolina, this body is going to die, but my soul will continue on and do something else. That spirit and that energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed and transmuted. And so there is a part of death that happens to all of us in personality through relationships a lot of times. And it is these moments that when you can really use astrology, be like, why is this happening to me? Why do I attract the same thing over and over and over and over? Well, I got to tell you why. The reason why is because you haven't learned your lesson. The reason why is because you haven't done that work to where be like, oh, look, mirror, person, you're showing me a part of me that I haven't fully accepted or figured out how to navigate in life. Now, will that disappear? Will that hurt and that wound automatically disappear just by doing that? No. That's not reality. The reality is that even at 80 years old, I'll still have a hint of something like that may appear, but hopefully I have developed the consciousness and the self-compassion to say, okay, I see that happening and triggering. Why is that? Let me soften a little bit. Let me go in a little bit and ask for God, for Creator, for assistance. Believe me, I'm not religious, but I am deeply spiritual. I know that I am connected to a bigger mission in life. My goal here in this reality at this time is to help others, to help them transcend from the binds that we find ourselves where we don't have any sense of hope. I find hope everywhere. Life is beautiful. There's people dying every single day. That is okay. That is part of the experience. And the sooner we come to the acceptance of these things in life, the happier we become, the happier we can attract the things that we want in life. So religion and spirituality, in my mind, are almost the same thing. One just wants to dictate to you how it has to happen, whereas the other is a self-directed way of exploring humanity and Creator and whatever you want to call it. Jesus, God, Buddha, I don't care. They're all the same in my mind.
Right. Well, thank you for answering that question.
Yeah.
Which is, very helpful to hopefully our audience listening. I think we've been just trying to share with people that it is all about that self-reflection. You did not just get born. You do not just exist to die. That there is all these lessons, and everybody knows that. You repeat patterns and things like that. And right now, so what do you say about right now with what's happening as we elevate in the planet? I know that right now we're moving through a powerful Mercury in Gemini trine Pluto in Aquarius transit, and people are experiencing massive realizations, subconscious truths are surfacing, nervous system overload, intense clarity around relationships, identity and hidden patterns. And I hope if you're listening this now time, that you're like, oh, wow, how do they know that? What's happening right now, in your perspective, that astrology is trying to tell us about where we're going and what we need to like move through?
Yeah, I mean, it's up there's for me, it's kind of like the chicken or the egg kind of times. Like, did I pick this time frame? Why am I here? Why are we all here at this time? Because right now, for the next many years, we're gonna, and it's not a day, we're talking years, 7+ years.
Uh-huh.
We are moving into the new realm of what humanity is going to look like. And it would be a lie for me to say I know exactly what's going to happen. Humans are unpredictable, yet predictable. And these are the times where we need to understand how to expose our mindsets that have been locking us into a state of lack of will, but also lack of movement and feeling hopeless. Many people out there operate thinking like the world is against them or the world is one way or the other, and they forget to realize that we are the ones that create our world. Every single day we choose.
Right.
And by our actions are the ones that help others, right? So every day I could say hello to somebody or I can say how hi. Every day I could say, hey, how are you? Good luck. Just by sharing some level of awareness that there's another human next to me helps that other human to be seen. And so what you just mentioned about this transit is all about shadow work. And shadow work is really just looking within to see what is here that needs a little bit more tending to, and that is really yucky. I don't really like
Yeah.
it. And that projection, it could be projection, it could be anger, it could be, like dominance over others or dominance over our situations in order to control the outcome. Control is a false thing. We cannot control jack shit. All right.
Yep.
There is no such thing. As much as you want to. And you might want to spin out and like be like, oh my God, the world's going to end. Look at what these people are doing. I'm helpless. I can't do anything. Well, you have just played into the awesome, awesome agenda of control. We have these opportunities, these transits, which happen every single day. Okay. And by transits, we mean planetary weather, the current
Okay. That
planetary
was gonna be my
weather.
next question.
Yeah, that is essentially basically after we're born, the plants continue to do their thing. And when they operate and come in contact with each other, these are moments that it could either be easeful or really hard. And when they all start doing that in some shape or form, these could be massive transformative moments, which we're in, to ones that may result in, like, I don't know, ET come home, right? Where we are now changing our minds as to who are we as humans? What is our place in society? Am I here to do this or that? We've gone through this last 7 years that sparked the digital nomad. We're now moving into the space of thinking, well, what does it mean to be an informed citizen? And what do we do with that information? Because information is power. The mind is very powerful. We create so much from our mind, and we forget that there's a heart space. And it is truly the heart is what we need to pay attention to, because that's where the signals are. The mind just wants to like overpower our hearts constantly. It wants to be like, nah, bitch, let me drive this, right? Like, I'm in control here. And it's that little kid's like, oh my God, watch out, we're going to die, things like that. But if you could really just listen to the heart and just go back into our heart space, we can find so much peace and acceptance of our role in society and in this world. I truly believe that all of us has a gift. And the more that we can let go of this system of control, because it's just an effort of holding on to a paradigm that no longer serves us. And it's really just our desire for comfort, for security, for things to be stable, right? It's the core things, right? Food, home, health. When those three get jeopardized, we make decisions that are not helpful for society and ourselves. And so those three buttons will continue to be pushed through the cosmos and through everything else to help you align or not. You could just continue doing your thing, right? If you want to eat bonbons until you die, by all means, eat them. who cares, right? But if you have a glint of a little voice in your head that's been saying like, there's something else here that you should go pursue it, you should pursue it. You should
Yeah.
go out and do it. And that, if that means leaving your job, leaving your husband or your wife, do it. Because there's something else out there that will bring you so much more happiness than where you're at right now. Trust me, I've done it
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
many times.
you can speak to that.
Yeah. That happened with me with the journey we're fixing to be going on. And I mean, I want to send my business and to lead that semi business. But before I came home and I told Zan, let's sell and let's go be sojourners and follow the path. I mean, the logical mind, that's ludicrous. That is, but it's just the intuition from within, the call. It's there. And I could have ignored it and stayed in comfort, but I know I'd have been miserable.
Mm-hmm.
The trucking business was just for a season, and that season's come to a close. But how many times do we try to keep a season open, by staying in a comfort zone and not stepping out on faith and following that intuition, knowing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've done that many times in my life, whether that was to move across country, to move to New York, to leave my job, my six-figure job with nothing on the other end, all the things. And what I've discovered is if I just listen to that little girl too long, then I stay in a state of stuckness.
Mm-hmm.
And that creates more unhappiness. And it also creates disease. Like that's a different subject altogether
Yeah.
because within astrology, you can also understand how energy impacts us beyond just like, oh, I don't like this. I'm talking about actual disease within the body.
Right.
And that's through
Physically.
stuck emotions, right? Stuck.
Yeah.
And is that what happens when somebody resists the lessons of a transit?
Yeah, I would say that it'll just come up again, like when transits happen and people are like, nah, I'm just not going to do something now. Like it'll just compound itself. And so the next time something that triggers that area, then you'll see that come up again.
Will it come up bigger?
Maybe. It all depends on the chart and what is happening in that moment. It could be bigger, it could be the same. It's hard to say, really. Yeah, I've had experiences where things have been okay, and then things have been like, wow, that wasn't fun.
Right. Right. I mean, that must be great because you know how to read that. But for those of us that don't, we're just kind of, checking in here and there. And so I asked Carolina to do a little chart on us, see how it would apply to what we're doing and our journey and, us being together. And so I don't know if you have anything to say on that, anything that you want to share with people that would be like, help them to see the value of this as, oh, wow, we just, a huge, big red cardinal just
Landed
flew
right
up
outside the
right
door.
outside the window.
Messages from the heart.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll say this. One thing that for those that are listening, the biggest thing that is helpful when you do your chart or anybody does your chart is an accurate birth time. So astrology is the study of time and space. Okay, it's why when you say you were born in California, but then you moved to Florida and you're like, wow, this is such a better place for me. Okay, that's because you're now in a different space. All right. And so when we draw with somebody's chart, we look to make sure that we have an accurate time and location. And so when I looked at the both of your charts based on the information you gave me, what I found was a lot of similarities. Synastry, okay? Synastry is the word that we use, which is affinity, things that are very like yin and yang, all right? The plus and the minus, right? I have this, and then you have this, and these two things go together. How awesome is that? And you guys have a lot of similarities and synastry. So Zan actually is a Cancer rising. The opposite sign of Cancer is Capricorn. And according to what you gave me for Troy, he's a Capricorn rising. These two signs are paired together. Okay. So you're here and he's on the opposite side. Then you have like the planets that have to do with relationship, Venus being one of them, and you have a lot of good connections between his and yours. But then there is a part of your chart that stood out because I saw so many things where like, oh, wow, this is cool. Yeah, this is easy. This should be no brainer for them. But then I saw a contact between Zan's Venus and his Pluto. And so for those who are mythological buffs, just go and do studies of what did the Greek myths say about these things, because they were individuals. I believe that these things actually did exist in some time in our life. And so Pluto is known as the god of the underworld. He helps us to understand the shadow of life. It is the part of us that talks about power, rebirth, and transformation. So Troy's Pluto is in contact with Zan's Venus. So Venus is about beauty, love, and relationship. And the connection between the two of them speak to hard work.
Golly.
Yes, this is work that you are here because you've magnetized each other. You have brought each other, and your charts are so like yin and yang. Like literally, she has this and he has the other part that fills in the other part. It's really fascinating. And so while Venus is love, pleasure, beauty, aesthetics, relationships, Pluto sits in the realm of the underworld who wants to help us expose very like slow, all right? It's not a fast energy to just look at things, and it's also power and obsession. And so there's a part potentially of Troy where he is obsessed with you. Okay, where there might be this power dynamic where he tries to assert power over you.
He tries.
And brings up triggers within you.
Yes.
All right. So what is Zan? Zan is an Aquarius. Aquarius is all about the individual. She is not here to follow anybody's path but her own. If you try to get her to do something and she's not up for it, hell no, it's not happening.
Another friend of mine who says that.
Yeah. I've been told that by several friends.
Yeah. Don't even try. Don't even try. But this contact between you two is one of soul deep level work. Okay? Where you are being tasked to understand what is it that Troy is seeking? What wound? Because this is all about wounds, people. This is all it is. This is either childhood or past life or ancestral work that is coming up that needs to be looked at. And so I took some notes for you guys here. I'm going to read a little bit about it. Okay. All right. So when the Pluto makes this contact that I'm talking about, this is called a square, a tension. All right. And tension through change. It has, for you to make the best of it, it requires you to work. All right. This is work that needs to happen. And so the relationship can feel magnetic and all consuming. And strangely, it's hard to ignore. Like you can't ignore each other through this dynamic. And so
I just want to hold on real quick just so the people listening aren't just, checking out that this is about Zan and Troy. But what she said so far is 100% accurate. And she doesn't really know what's been really going on between us. So we're friends, but she hasn't known all of the details. And so that is very much it, is that we are all consuming in this relationship, really trying to get it as close as it can be. And he has been Pluto. Like he has been Pluto for 4 months before. But yet my stuff has come up through it in resistance. I have been in resistance because I want to be like, la, 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 happy. And it has cracked. And now I see the difference in myself through it. So continue.
yeah. And that's the beautiful part about all of this, right? Because you guys are now in a part of your life and through the work that each of you has done that you can actually handle this. In the past, Sam would be like, F this mofo, I'm out of here. And you, Troy, would have been like, but why? But why? Let me chase. Instead, you have to sit in that discomfort. and ask the true questions that come up. And so the shadow side is a mention of all of this. It's obsession, jealousy, manipulation, power games, testing each other, withholding affection at times, sexual control, or fear of abandonment. Ding, ding, ding. That is generally what it is. It's the fear of abandonment, right?
Yes. Okay.
I don't know, y'all, but I hear astrology is accurate.
Yeah.
You tell me.
And it's from the shadow work. It's from the inner child, going back to the child.
Yes.
Yeah. And the fear of abandonment has been the number one issue that we have had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the core experience that we have as children, which is the first one, right? When we're born, the umbilical cord is cut. That's the first wound that we all experience as humans. It's the disconnection from mother. Whether that relationship is good or not, that is the beginning of it. And so what we receive as children and what we witness as children is what generally gets developed and then projected out over time, because we either haven't dealt with it or we've done some of the work, but not all the work that needs to happen. And so, like I said, you guys have literally been brought in together, and then that makeup has also brought out this one connection that this Venus square Pluto is what I have natally. Okay. So this happens for me in my own personal life and my relationships that I'm actually doing the work right now because I have seen it projected out into my partner. Right. And so I'm projecting all of my fears onto him, hoping that he will deal with it. Well, he's like, no. He is just as hard headed as Zan, right? If not even worse. And so he's like, you need to go and deal with that. And actually, he didn't even have to say that. I was like crying. I was like, oh my God, it is so much. It's time. It is time because you are so valuable to me that I don't want to continue with this pain.
Right.
You know, I want to work through it. And when you start doing that work, you build yourself an even stronger container. Yeah. So this is not insurmountable. This is that part of fate versus free will. Mm-hmm. We have enough tools today in this society to do the work that our parents and their parents didn't have.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's an important point, is that we have so many tools, and it's crucial to really understand what this is and not just go to any astrologer, for example, people who really know what they're talking about. So I really appreciate you and what you do and for sharing. And before I segue to the next topic, which is about how you're going to help people with their finances, was anything in our chart about this journey that we're going on with this podcast and sharing with people? Because I don't speak for you, but for me, this is about a dream come true, being able to share everything that I have learned over the last 30 years with people as they wake up, because I've already done a lot of the legwork and I'm now on the round 2. Doesn't end with just round 1. And why are you doing this journey?
Well, early on, since I started studying scripture, my life, there's always been a call. And it's, the call that's been on my life's never been about myself, but people, just to love on them, the opportunity to love on them. It's so fascinating how, even in the direction I went in the beginning, which was not fulfilling at all, there was an emptiness. My intuition knew there was more. The liberty wasn't there. I didn't have the freedom. Therefore, with all that said, where was the peace? But now it's knowing where I am, knowing the track I'm on, the peace that shows up, the divine that has stepped in. There's just no question. I've never had the peace that I have now.
That's so beautiful. Yeah. And for those that are listening, where you're at is also speaks to just maturity. In today's society, everybody wants now, the future now. We want instant gratification and we want to bypass the work or the experiences. So you would not be here without those experiences, whether they were good or not. Right? It makes you who you are. And so moving forward for you both, I would say your biggest challenge would be what I just called out. Because Venus is also money, and so is Pluto. Pluto speaks to power. Those who have, like, say, Willem Buffett and what is it? No, whatever his name.
Warren Buffett.
Yeah, that one. That one and others like Bill Gates have a signature in their charts that has two major players connected, and that would be Jupiter and Pluto. And that's where their wealth has been really grown. And so there, each of you is going through some deep transformative changes right now with Pluto going through Aquarius for the next 20 some years, 19 plus years, okay? And for Troy, that's a complete rebuild and exposure of the money part angle for you. And it's connected to Zan's part of her chart that speaks to wanting to dive deep with others to build more wealth together. And so that shadow work is critical to in order to be able to receive it. Right? We need to be energetically aligned. This is where most people feel like manifestation doesn't work. Well, it's because they stop halfway on what those things are. So the mind, our words, our heart, and our actions need to be aligned for us to pull in the things we need to. And we get hung up a lot of times because we're not ready to do the work that is required. So this is the work. And what I would say for your future, just continue doing what you're doing. I'd have to go much deeper into looking at the charts. I was just looking at it. It's what I was looking on my over here. But you guys have like some really juicy connections, like juicy things that are going to be really helpful for opening up the path for you. So just don't get hung up on the 3D realm of projection of ego, right? The ego is really great to keep you alive, but a lot of times it will just really F your world up because it wants to go back to, are
Yep.
you safe? Am I
Yeah.
being seen? Am I
That
safe?
loop.
Am I
Yeah.
exactly? It's the loop. And, do EFT tapping if you have to. Do somatic release. Go dance. Hug people. Be in just heart coherence more and more with other people. And I truly believe the moment that the preacher, which is your Jupiter in Sagittarius, dear sir, I feel like when you are more in alignment with you speaking your truth, the more that things are going to come to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, it's your sun in Sagittarius, and it's Zan's. Zan, you have Jupiter in Sagittarius. So yeah, these signatures are so powerful. You guys, I'm like, man, this is really cool, man.
Yay. See, you too can have a reading with Carolina and you
Yes,
can have her tell you
yes.
all
I'd be
about.
happy to do that. Yeah, so I'll talk about what I've been doing and where I'm at right now with my business. So, as we started and I shared, I began my world in what I call the Muggle world, if you know the Harry Potter stuff. So, in the realm of like working 9 to 5 in the corporate realm, as well as in digital agencies and clients, helping them to come online. Okay, so I'm like old school OG internet world. And when I had
In
my
fact,
awakening,
that's where we met. I just want to
yes,
interject real quick. So
yes,
Carolina, this is how we met. We were young and beautiful. No, now we're just wisdom keepers and even more beautiful. I lived in Bend, Oregon, and you lived in Portland.
yeah.
And I had rented my house as an Airbnb. This is when Airbnb first came out, and her then husband came and stayed. I think you were like my second guest or something, and it was so fun for me because I got to show her all around, and of course we totally hit it off, and we thought, oh, this is like so great, and we became friends, and we were much more alike than we even knew, and
Yeah,
so I wonder if that was in our chart.
it is.
Is that we were
Yes, we
gonna
have
meet.
a lot of things in common.
No, love you, sis. Okay, continue on.
Yeah, and so when we met, I was working for Intel at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I quit that job and then went down this exploration path. And that's when I decided that I wanted to go deeper into astrology. And so over the last couple years, I've been using my old school like experience and talents that I have, which is the internet. I truly believe the internet is one of the biggest things that can help humanity. it can also really not help us, okay? Let's be
Yeah.
honest. Because really what we need right now is more human connection. So the
Yeah.
fact that you guys are going out on trips and meeting with people is powerful. It's truly powerful. Sure, use the internet to get the word even further, but the connection is where things are. And so I started my path with helping people to learn astrology so that they could do the self-discovery work and be more of that teacher guide individual. That was my old membership called Unveil Path Circle. Then I launched a separate membership to help business owners tap into their astrology to help build their businesses and aligned with what their blueprint is truly is, right? Instead of spinning, because when you're in your own out there building your own business,
A lot.
it's a lot,
Yeah.
okay? Not only are you having to figure out the technical piece of things, but then you have to understand who am I talking to and what am I going to offer? Many of us don't have those clear answers, okay? This is when there's coaches out there like, oh, but you must know those. No, 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 no. Astrology will show you over and over why that is for some, why that is impossible and hard for some to figure those things out. Not to mention if you're going through perimenopause and menopause. Wow, right? That blow my brains out. Wow. And so we all need mentors in life. I have a coach, and working with her, we realized like instead of holding these two memberships up, it was meant for me to sunset them and bring about a different container to help people with the financial piece. So it's called Cosmic Wealth Collective. The doors will open up
Beautiful.
after June 7th.
June
It's
7th,
also cosmically,
2026.
yes, it will be, it's also cosmically timed, just so you know,
Cool.
because I'm using everything I know, right? The technical as well as the astrology. And so this container is not going to be about teaching. People will say, I want to learn astrology, but the reality is that you actually don't, because it's not
Right.
something you
It's a
learn
lot.
in 1 month. It is
Right.
years,
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
You know, I've now almost 10 years doing this, and it's a lot of work to memorize, but also to like witness. You have to become an
Experience.
investigator, and you have to write and make the dots and see how things are related. So this membership is really going to hand you the blueprint and the monthly action of this is what you should do.
Oh,
Okay.
fabulous.
Instead of like you being like, I want you to go and investigate and then figure, no, just go and do this. And then we'll meet every single month and you can be on the hot seat and say, Caroline, I've done this. Give me some more tips and then I will. If you know anything about me, if you have the opportunity to meet me in life, you'll realize that I am a helper. I really love to help people. I like to hold their hands, tell them how much they're awesome and how they can do things in life. And that's the experience that you get with me every single month on a live call. And so the membership is not meant to be the end all be all. It will not cover all of astrology. Astrology is a vast system. This will be exclusive around wealth and wealth only.
Well, and is it for business owners? Is it for, I'm an
Anyone,
individual, I like walk dogs or something. I can do this as well.
anybody who wants to work on their money, anyone.
I
So
mean,
whether
that's
that
almost
is a
everybody
exactly.
right now with what's going on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this will be built in mind for whether you're working for the man or working for yourself.
Awesome. And is there a cost that you
Yes,
want to share?
this will be launching at $15 a month. It's
Great.
150 a year, or you can join as a lifetime member. There will be only 11 seats at this price of 375, and that will be a one-time payment, and that's it. And then you're in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we
Yeah, I
will
want to
put
make it
that.
affordable. You know, I want people to be able to do something with this instead of just grabbing onto something else and being like, and be like, oh my God, what if, and, you know, I want people to take action, you know, to get out of
Yeah.
their own heads and step into their hearts and get into the space of like anything is possible in life. Anything is possible.
So what I'm hearing as a recap of tonight is that you can have everything that you want. Your chart can help you to get there, but you need to do the work. And if you're willing to do the work, then Carolina is going to help you in giving you some guiding steps based on. So is it based on their astrology, or is it like all the what's happening in the all the planets right now for everybody?
Yeah, so there'll be one core piece that people receive, which is a cosmic wealth blueprint report that will break down your placements. And then they'll receive a monthly report that is targeting based on a key part of the chart that then tells me everything else after it. So if they want really more personalized information, they'll need to book a time with me.
Okay.
There's only so much that can be that specific without getting into somebody's like reading of their chart.
Yeah. And can people hire you to do readings?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can hire me. Right now it's 110 per hour. And
Awesome.
the price
That's
is
great.
going up starting in July because again, I'm timing it with cosmic timing for a transit that's coming in and I want to ride that wave. So yeah, I tend to overgive and undercharge, and that story is ended.
Yay. We love that. I mean, not for you guys, but for her. We love her. So hopefully you're one of our early adopters on the Soldier podcast, and you're listening now and you're going to jump on this. We'll put the links in where all podcasts are posted. Do you want to say anything before we open it up to the fire?
Well, I'd like to go into that. In other words, you talked about everything aligning, your mind, your heart, and that's been my work. When I first started, did I realize, there was no line, but I've come online and I'm seeing the awareness of it and the importance of it. Your mind can be so helpful, but it could hinder you too.
Yes.
The negative. It's just neat how you talked about all of it has, getting it all in a line, and the work that it takes to get there but it's so rewarding.
It is. Yeah.
Am I there? I've not arrived, but am I closer? Yeah. And can see the difference in that. And that's what I want to bring to the fire tonight. The work of getting everything aligned and the importance of it, and then having the awareness and seeing that I'll surrender. That's what I want to bring to the fire, surrender to what needs to happen. Not allowing the ego to take
I'm going to
over.
walk around with a little lighter right next to you.
Not allowing the ego to come in and want to control, but rather surrender to the alignment.
So
Yeah.
we just have this fire ceremony at the end of each podcast, and you can put something in that you want to burn, or you can put something in as a prayer, or it can be something that will lift you up. Do you have something that you want to put in the fire, sweet friend?
Yeah, I would just say I have deep gratitude for this connection. And I think for me, my biggest request of this time is may I continue to be breathing this life and air into my body and continue to walk as the light that I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. I'm going to put in the fire, I'm going to piggyback on Troy, which is control and perfectionism. I mean, the good news is that I recognize it now. Carolyn and I know, she knows my temper and has been. we had a couple dukes up when we were
Scuffles.
younger. Yeah. And, but because of all of this, I've been learning really, it'll come up and then I'll look at it and be like, is it worth even going to that space? And in that moment, I'm able to kind of drop that down. And so as it continues to resurface, putting in the fire, the mechanism to really smooth that out so that it just eliminates. It's really a noticeable difference, like doing the work. It's a noticeable difference in myself and like, wow, I used to just blow a gasket over like the littlest things. And anybody listening to this podcast knows that because I have been talking about it for a while, but it's really happening. And so I'd like to throw the remnants of that additional stuff in there so that it's smooth sailing, because Troy and I are just going to update for everybody. So Troy needs to sell his dump truck in order for us to go on the road. And so we are in an exclusive faith walk right now because we were supposed to leave in a week from now, and the dump truck hasn't sold. And it's okay. It's all okay because it's allowing us to adjust. And I know that if you're listening, that sounds like crazy town. Like, what are these people doing? But we have faith, and it's all the practice. It's the practice for us to learn the manifestation and the let go and to be in the joy
And to align.
and to exactly so that we can attract it to us. And it's exciting for us because this month we've been talking about burning away the illusion, and the stuff that's going to come in the future podcast is going to be more around manifestation and that joy, connecting with nature, altar practices, and things like that, because we will be in total flow. But we have been in it this year with that lovely Pluto and Venus connection. We have faith, and we can't wait to report every week how things are going, and we can't wait to tell you guys that we're going to be on the road, and our goal is to have these campfire conversations. Coffee and campfire is what we're going to call it, where every place that we camp at, we're going to put up an A-frame sign, and we're going to open the invitation to have morning coffee and campfire talk. And we're going to have these conversations with people, and if we meet you on the road, then we might have you on this podcast to share your perspective and your view, because it's really about us walking the walk with everybody and sharing. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, sweet sister, for this.
You're welcome, sweetie.
How's the rain over there?
It's gone.
Yay!
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, we super appreciate you. Did you want to just briefly say the website?
Yeah, people can find me at questmystic.com. And if you'd like to join the wait list, it's questmystic.com/CWC-waitlist.
Okay. And we will put that on our notes too. So thank you, everybody, for listening.
Yep.
Love and
Thank you so
light.
much. Ease and grace.
Yeah.
Peace and blessings. And may you find the fire within.
Yep.
There we go.